You're listening to the Madcast Media Network. MadcastMedia.com.
This episode is brought to you by RoastersMarketplace.com. What is this website, though? It's basically like a Steam store for your coffee. You can get all kinds of different coffee, going by a roast, so like light, medium, or dark roast, or by region. And if you go to RoastersMarketplace.com, pick a bag, and use the code GAMER, G-A-M-E-R, you get free shipping off of your first order. So go to RoastersMarketplace.com, pick up a bag, and use the code GAMER to get free shipping off your first order. Welcome to Super Arrogant Bros, recorded on July 13th, 2020. I am Dirk, and with me is my co-host, Stev.
Hello.
We've got this delay since we're on Discord, but for this week, we also want to welcome a special guest of ours, Mrs. Laurie Foster. How you doing?
Hey, guys.
Hey. So, do you want to give an introduction about yourself and Unlikely Heroes Studios?
Sure. I am a comic inker, an editor, and I own Unlikely Heroes Studios. It's an indie comic publishing company.
Perfect. Okay. Well, with that, let's go ahead and get into the games of the week.
Games of the week.
So for this week, I decided to bring in, well, a game that I shat on for quite a while, which is called Red Dead Redemption 2. I might have shat on it a lot for being boring, but the powers that be of dad gaming have been drawing me back into this game. So I may find myself just gambling out in the old Wild West. And I'm only like a few hours into this, but playing this on a 4K TV and being able to just get engrossed into the entire setting, it's kind of incredible, actually. So, Steve,
yeah, I told you, and what did you do? You realize how glorious this game can be. It's so atmospheric. It's so beautiful in certain parts of the game, and it's like I told you over and over again, you had to give it a chance. You have to give it a chance. And now that you gave it a chance,
well, it's the perfect game to play during a pandemic, isn't it?
Oh, it's amazing. I remember actually sitting down while I think I actually had the day off coincidentally while playing Red Dead, and it's just, I remember sitting at a train station and playing cards. No, I was playing dominoes, which is a bunch of these old dudes that are just sitting at the train station, just playing dominoes. And I'm playing it, and I'm getting like $2 or $3 out of all of that, and then I, get up to $10. I'm like, yeah, there we go. I just got them out of all of their money. I feel good. Oh, what time? It is 3 a.m. He started playing this around 10. All right, I have spent the last 3 to 4 hours just playing nothing but dominoes.
I might have that happen.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be able to just talk about more about this game as I keep progressing through it, because like I'm not really as far in depth enough to give a 2-year retro view at this point, but I do want to talk about this game a little bit more as the time goes on. So, Stev, what do you have for us this week?
Honestly, I've been playing a little bit of Teamfight Tactics. Those of you that don't know what Teamfight Tactics is, it's basically this auto chess game that uses a lot of the League of Legends characters, and it's a fun little game that you can just kind of have running casually while you're doing something else. Like for me, putting together models and painting, it's usually a game that I just kind of sit down and I just kind of let it run, And what it is that you're supposed to build a team of champions to go up against these other players. I think it's about 7 players that you're supposed to be going up against. And the goal is just to get into the top 3. And I thought that, it's a fun little game to kind of just play in the background. Like every once in a while, you'll pick someone that you think looks cool, put it on your bench, and then throw it out there. And I don't know. I kind of like it. It's a little bit better than just sitting around and just focusing on models. I need something to also catch my attention as well.
Okay. And Laurie, you have one for this week.
Yeah, I've been playing Final Fantasy VII Remake. I was a huge fan of the original game. It was kind of it came out at the perfect time for me. So I was excited for the remake like a dork. I like it. I like revisiting it. There's a couple things about it that annoy the shit out of me, though. Have you guys played it at all?
I never really got the chance to.
Yeah, I've only done the demo for the remake, and as far as the original goes, I never got past the first disc. That's the majority of players, though.
That's fair. Yeah, the demo. Did you enjoy the demo?
Kinda.
Yeah, like there's aspects of it that are cool, and there's aspects of the combat that are super frustrating. In the actual game, something that really annoys me is like they spent so much time making this, and like the NPCs look like they're like 10 years ago, and they recycled textures from like older Final Fantasy games.
Oh.
I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but yeah, it's like your main character looks beautiful and like HD or whatever the fuck, but like anyone in the background just looks like weird, and like their textures are low res, and like I don't know what happened or what they did and why they haven't fixed it.
Oh, okay. That's... Oh, man, I don't think I like that. I don't think I like that at all.
Yeah, it's driving me crazy. It bothers me. It's basically like you're playing Final Fantasy VII, but there's like Sims in the background. Like it's trash.
Pudgy graphics, my favorite sort of graphics.
Exactly.
Well, can you compare the gameplay and especially the combat to Final Fantasy 15? Because like when I tried playing Final Fantasy 15, I couldn't get into it because of the combat system, and I'm noticing the same thing for 7 Remake, but they feel very similar to me.
Yeah, they do. They fixed the camera a bit in Final Fantasy VII Remake, because in 15 it was extremely frustrating. Like the camera would go in extremely stupid places and it would do really dumb shit. They fixed that a bit for 7, but it's still really frustrating. You can choose to control whoever you want, and you can switch between them, but while you're not controlling people, they do really dumb shit, and it's extremely frustrating. So either like you have to sit there and like constantly switch between your characters, or just accept that everyone else in your party is an idiot.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
I know that feeling way too much. You may have hurt me a little bit by saying that.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I've played Divinity Original Sin.
Bruh, I've played what's it? Dragon's Dogma. And
Christ, don't remind me.
So the pawn system. Yeah, the pawn system in that game. Don't get me wrong, I like customizing your own companions. It makes it feel a little bit better for me, I guess. But at the same time, it's like I don't need you to cast healing magic. I need you to kill this man because we're all gonna die if okay, well, she's going off in that direction, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Exactly. And it becomes like, I don't know if some people like that micromanaging, but like I just kind of want to play one character, and I want other people to do like just the minimum that they need to do for their class, and like they're not doing that, and it's really frustrating.
Yeah, just do their jobs.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're trying to play your hero. You're not trying to play everyone else's hero.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good selection, Laurie. So with that, let's go ahead and get into the gaming news.
Gaming news.
So, Stev, you brought up something that caught our interest, as far as the Warhammer 40K community goes. What did you find, buddy?
So remember how I was talking about in yesterday's episode, talking about scalpers in the Warhammer 40K community and how they're starting to buy up all of these Indominus starter boxes, right?
Yeah.
Well, as it turns out, Games Workshop caught on to that, and they said to themselves, you know what? If you do want that box set, just order it at your local game store, order it online. We will make it for you. That's kind of really big, especially for people that really want to play the game.
That's pretty huge.
Yes, that's amazingly huge.
Yeah. That's so, God, what's the term for this? Consumer friendly. I really love this.
Yes, oh God, you don't understand. There were so many people that just, again, I heard that apparently the Games Workshop website went down again because of it. And you know what? That feels good. That feels gratifying in many places, because it's like there were people that were really looking forward to this Indominus set. There were people that were really looking forward to the new Necron models that were coming out and new Space Marine models. They wanted to get their hands on it, but they couldn't because these scalpers just decided to say, "Hey, I'm going to make a quick buck on this and not care about anything else." So it feels good.
And I'm reading through the Warhammer community post about this, and I'm not seeing any mentions about scalpers.
Of course, they're not going to mention it.
And that's good. That's actually pretty nice here. So what they're doing is they're saying, hey, buddy, you missed out. Quote from the website, here's what we're going to do. Today we're going to be making Indominus available as a made-to-order item for a limited sale. And so by doing this, and without even mentioning or giving attention to the scalpers, it really gives a good finger to them.
Oh, it definitely does. Like, golly mighty. Mm-hmm. It feels good. It feels really good.
Yeah.
To all of a sudden just like see these scalpers just lose tons of money, and now they have their own box set now. They have 3 to 4 of these damn things now, and they don't know what to do with it because they don't play the hobby.
Yeah. Yeah, and exactly.
It feels good. Like
if
it feels good.
If there was some way of giving the same kind of finger to like ticket scalpers, because it's still a pretty bad problem in the metal community.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's terrible.
Oh yeah.
Have you had that experience, Laurie?
No, not personally. I've just watched it happen.
Oh God.
Yeah.
It feels bad because you know that the people that really want those tickets, they'll pay an arm and a leg in order to get into their favorite concerts.
Yeah.
And it feels so bad.
It's exploitive.
It's exploitive, and it hurts. It hurts to see these people just get away with it.
Yeah, it's
so
really shitty.
it feels good to see that, you know what, these people are finally they're getting their due finally.
Yeah, definitely. And thank you for bringing that in, Stev. With that, let's go ahead and get into the topic of the week.
Topic of the week.
So for this week, we decided to ask our friend Laurie to come into the studio with us and talk about Unlikely Heroes Studios. Unfortunately, with her living all the way in, aren't you? Yeah, you're not anywhere near close to us here, so we had to do Discord instead. But thank you for taking the time to sit down and talk with us about who you are and what you do. So I guess, can you give some history about Unlikely Heroes?
Basically, the company started, let me think, probably 2010 with Zach Dolan and a guy named Justin Pyatt, and they just basically like reunited after a while. After high school, they were high school buddies, and they wanted to make a comic together. And I'll like shorten this story up, but they hired me as an inker a couple of years later, and I kind of just helped them figure their shit out and grow, and now I own the company.
Oh, nice.
Oh, and don't worry about shortening things up for us here. I mean, we love the details. We love the history of artists and what they do. So can you tell me, how did you get into doing inking?
Basically, I was doing just kind of some illustration work and graphic design work, but I always really wanted to work in comics. So I started basically just practicing. I found like pro pencils and downloaded them and started practicing inking them and started building my portfolio, and I eventually just got hired.
Hey, that's a good way of putting it anyway. So what do you enjoy about doing the practice?
That's a good question. I'm trying to think of a way to describe it. I don't know. I like just taking someone's pencils and making them better with inks. I like making them more dynamic and adding just a whole level of coolness to them. And there's something about like super meticulous, detailed pages that I really like, which is probably weird, but
and from what I've seen, your husband Eric also does the lettering for your comics.
Yeah, he does. He helps with editing. He does lettering. He makes all of our Kickstarter videos as well and does all the music for them.
Okay. And when it comes to getting the comics done, and like when it comes to even just drawing or just inking it, what are some parts of the procedure that you feel like people don't quite know about that you really appreciate? So it's like when somebody has a craft that they're really honing or that they enjoy doing every day, like there's just certain parts of it that they love, or there's certain satisfactions that they get from it.
I mean, comics in general, I feel like people don't realize how much effort and time goes into them. You have a penciler, you have an inker, you have a colorist, you have a letterer. You also have a writer, and you have an editor, and you have a flatter. And that's basically everyone that's going into this, and they have to, pass the pages and make it flow from one person to the next. I do feel for myself that inkers are kind of underappreciated because people don't realize, like, they think they just trace, which is very common. I'm sure you've heard that before.
Actually, I mean, the way that I've looked at it is the inker is sort of what is able to breathe in more life into the drawings.
Yeah, absolutely. And depending on the penciler too, like I've had to redraw panels. I've had to add items to them, depending on the company and the process and the penciler. Like it can be like the inker can actually be doing a lot of the drawing as well.
Good. So what was the inspiration for starting the studio?
I think initially they just wanted to make a superhero book that was better than the shit that Marvel and DC were releasing. And it kind of snowballed from there, and now it's kind of just like all of our series kind of revolve around unlikely heroes, and we're kind of maintaining this theme as we go.
And so how do you like the freedom from like you don't have to worry about being under the thumb of the big two? Like how do you like having this freedom of not having to be under the pressure of these companies?
I really like it for the most part. I think what most people would be surprised to learn is that big publishing companies will not even look at superhero properties. They refuse to even take submissions, no matter how good they are.
Oh, wow.
So if you actually want to release your own superhero comic, you're kind of on your own. Like no one, Image, Valiant, like they won't look at it. They don't care. Like it'll even say on the website, like no superhero submissions. We don't, because they don't want to compete with Marvel and DC. Like it's not.
Yeah. Oh,
so
wow, I never knew that.
Yeah, neither did I. Do you have any idea or any sort of guess as to why like Marvel and DC wouldn't take any submissions?
Well, Marvel and DC specifically, I think they want to stick to the properties that they have and they're used to, which is, in my opinion, kind of annoying because I feel like they could benefit from, something besides Batman. Mm-hmm. Like the 400 millionth Batman comic, but whatever. And then other companies, I think they just don't want to compete with them. Like they don't want to mess around with superheroes. I don't know. It's bizarre to me.
Yeah, well, at the same time, though, like, I can think of sort of reasonings for myself here. It's like, if I run a record company and I want to be able to find talent, I don't want to get just flooded with so much mail from people that are trying to promote themselves. I want the cream of the crop here. And so I'm assuming that, like, Marvel and DC were having that same kind of thinking.
Of course, yeah. It to submit to Marvel or DC is very difficult. They like to they'll hold stuff kind of like in person. You have to go to a convention and actually speak to a person and show them your port. It's an unbelievable hassle.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the heroes that people create themselves, why don't we have you give us an introduction to some of the characters that you and the studios work with here? You had us check out Super. It's a crime-fighting team, and can you tell us a little bit about the characters and some of their story?
Super centers around a group of kind of misfit superheroes who are trying to like rise above their mediocrity.
Okay.
and prove themselves in like a world where basically everyone's a superhero. The main group is basically, we have Blitz, we have Silhouette, we have the Fire Ant, we have the Lush, Max Archer, Adventure Man Zero, and Blood Death. And I can just give you a quick run through of them if you wanted.
Yeah, feel free to, because what I'm trying to do is give some extra exposure to you guys, because I'm going to have some listeners that don't know who these characters are, because not as many people are bringing this to their faces.
Yeah, and they need to be.
Yeah. So why don't we do this then? Can you tell us, what? Can you maybe pick out a favorite character that you have from this team of heroes, and why is it Lush?
Well, the Unquenchable Lush is kind of I'm sure you guys are familiar with the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
The Unquenchable Lush is similar. He gets super strength and kind of turns into a monster, but he has to be drunk to do it.
I feel
It feels
Dirk,
relatable.
Yeah, I was about to say, Dirk, are you relating with this character right now?
Well, look, I'm just saying that certain parts of it's like when Tool fans talk about how marijuana will unlock certain parts of your brain. That's the same way with alcohol. It does that for me.
Exactly. So there you go. We also have a character called the Streak, and if you're familiar with the Flash, again, he's similar to the Flash, but he has to be naked.
Right. So the Streak is on the sex offender registry. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So with all these characters, then, who was the main driving force behind creating these characters? Like, were these like Zach characters?
Yeah. Everything was basically created and written by Zach Dolan. Yeah.
Got it. And
Yeah.
As I understand, he is no longer with us.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. He passed away last year, and we're all kind of still in shock.
Yeah.
About it. Yeah. We've had to adjust as a company because he co-owned it and co-ran everything and wrote all of our stuff. So it's been an adjustment.
What has the challenge been like so far for creating more comic content without him?
Well, it's been a struggle to hire because he drew and wrote Super. So far Super has been on pause. While we figure out what to do. The Surgeon, we already had a writer, so we had to find a new artist, which was definitely a struggle. We had to go through quite a few candidates and try to find someone. Like, no one will ever, like, their style will never match Zach's, but we tried to get someone who just conveyed the same kind of emotion and, worked their ass off, basically.
Right.
You want someone with the same passion.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I can definitely tell that some of these characters, like the one storyline that I like the most had to have been the one about Red Star. And it's this guy that's just straight out of time, like literally just kind of plucked out of God, for those of you that haven't read the comic, Red Star is basically this arch nemesis of one of the older supers that is in a nursing home right now. And it's just, I don't know why, I just really liked the storyline of this guy that is just, he is out of his time period and everything around him has changed, and he hasn't come to that realization yet until finally he sees his arch nemesis being just, kind of old. He's not decrepit or anything like that. It's just that he's changed. And it's just, it was nice to kind of read those sorts of stories to see that, time changes everything and time changes the perception of everything, I guess. But I liked it because I saw all of the old superheroes, and I don't know why. I thought that storyline was just hilarious.
Nice. Yeah, it's that whole like golden age of superheroes. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you have a Kickstarter that was just started last week, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
So
we launched exactly a week ago, actually.
Oh, got it. And this is related to The Surgeon. Now, The Surgeon was actually the first comic that I knew of that you worked on, and it actually did catch my attention when you started posting about it. What was it? Back in, maybe it was about 2018, where I decided, okay, I'll go ahead and just pick up an issue for my tablet and check it out here. And can you tell us about The Surgeon, about the main character and some of her story as well?
Sure, yeah. So basically, it's set 15 years after the world falls apart, so very prescient. And the main character is Dr. Hanover, who is basically trying to balance her calling as a healer with the necessity of killing people. And she's discovering that she's very good at killing people.
Okay. So it's my character in Fallout every single time I play. Got ya.
Exactly.
And how far are we in the series with The Surgeon? Like, how many issues do we currently have?
We have 2 that are done, and this Kickstarter is for the 3rd issue.
Okay. And what's the response like so far for the Kickstarter?
It's been, I was really nervous to launch it because of everything going on right now. I didn't know how people were going to react. But it's actually been going really well. We're only about $500 short from the goal right now.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and everyone seems really excited, really pumped. I guess they're all bored and at home and wanting to read something new, which is great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fantastic, actually. When does the Kickstarter end?
It'll be August 5th.
Okay, so that's actually a good amount of time that you guys have then, just for the $500. So I think if we keep pushing it, like, you're going to exceed that goal too.
Yeah, ideally we do. We have a bunch of really cool stretch goals planned. If we do make enough money, what we do, and we did this with the first issue Kickstarter as well, if we make enough money, we will also promise everyone issue 4 and send it to them. So, like, it's not like we're just taking all this extra money and, like, rolling around naked in it. Like, we're going to make another book.
Okay, so just to entice us then, like, what's the goal to make it so that the 4th issue can happen?
That is a great question, and I probably should have known that answer before talking about it. I want to say it's around 14,000 to get both books made, and that would of course count like both books getting made and then getting shipped to everyone with all of the other stuff we're producing, the enamel pins, the art prints, we're doing a surgeon coin, all of that stuff.
Good. Okay. So what goes into the entire concept of being able to publish a comic book? Because, I mean, it's people say that or people tend to think that it's something that they can just whip up and get out there. You find a publisher and then your book is out there for everybody. But there's a lot more to do with it. Can you maybe talk about the process of from point A to point B to getting the physical books out there?
Oh my goodness. Sure. Yeah.
Look, I mean, I'm a very huge behind the scenes kind of guy, so I get wet over this.
Awesome. No, that's good. I always I talk about it to people and I think I bore them to death. So, Well, like I said, yeah, I mean, you're starting with a script, you're doing, actually after the script, you're doing thumbnails. So kind of like a storyboard, and then you're doing pencils and then inks and then flats and then colors and then letters and then edits. And then of course, setting up the book for print, which is also a specific skill set. Like, I don't think people realize that there's a way to set up a book in a layout so that it's printed properly and the pages aren't crooked and the colors print properly and they look vibrant. And I'm rambling, sorry.
No, please ramble.
Yeah,
I like this.
Keep going. Yeah, we got this.
And then of course, you know, the whole press aspect of it and the social media aspect of it and doing a Kickstarter. I have a lot of people who see us run a Kickstarter and then think they can just like jump right in and run one and make 10 grand and like they're just set, and like it's really not that easy. There's been a lot of just work like building a newsletter to tell people about it. And then of course, the more successful Kickstarter campaigns you have, like the more people you're in contact with. You know, we have press releases that we have to write. For our Kickstarters, like I was talking about earlier, we actually make a video that isn't just a jackass sitting in front of a cell phone. We like to use like pages from the comic and kind of animate them, and we hire a voice actor and we make music for them, and like we actually put effort into it. So it's sort of like a movie trailer for the book.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And then in terms of we get it printed, and then of course we have to ship it to everyone. We also publish the digital book on Comixology, so it has to be set up very specifically for them. I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting anything. For graphic novels, you have to purchase an ISBN, and you have to make sure that's on the book if you want your book to go into stores or onto Amazon, Barnes & Noble, anything like that. It has to be set up in a very specific way. You can't do that with individual issues of a comic because they count as sort of a magazine. It's like a periodical, so you can't buy an ISBN for them, so they have to be sold kind of a different way.
Okay, that actually, like, that should help people bring in a lot more appreciation to the process overall. So what do you think helps you guys stand out to other indie developers or indie publishers?
Well, first of all, at least what people have told us, what makes us stand out is what we do looks professional. It can stand up to the big three. It's lettered professionally. It's colored professionally. Unfortunately, as an editor, like I've seen a lot of submissions, like we actually have an anthology that we take submissions for. And like, unfortunately, sometimes you see some submissions and they look like they were drawn in MS Paint and they're lettered with Comic Sans, like as the font.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And like just kind of stuff like that. Like you'd be surprised, like and it's unfortunate because like a lot of this information, like you can find it online. Like there's a lot of cheap like resources to learn how to letter and learn how, like, even if you can't hire a professional because you might not have the money, like you can, like my husband letters, like he learned how to do it on the internet. You can put the effort in and kind of figure it out and learn. And like the indie communities, like I try to help people all the time if they ask me questions. Like I don't have a problem with that at all. But yeah, I think, sorry, I'm rambling again, but yeah, I think that really, it unfortunately sets us apart from a lot of indie companies because we really like make that effort to make things professional. I mean, well, you guys looked at our comics, like, what do you think?
Well, to be honest, yeah, I do think it looks professional. I do think that the artwork is done extremely well. And I definitely will say that for The Surgeon. I think that, like, I went to school for web technologies, but also an emphasis in graphics. And so I had to work with text. So you learn about things like kerning and the placement of text, and it all matters. And people don't typically think about this because it's not pointed out to them, but their brain notices it. It's kind of like red letter media. It's like you didn't notice it, but your brain did. And so it leaves a lot to appreciate for what you guys are doing for your work.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's exactly the kind of stuff I mean too. Like you'll see in the, in the indie comics, especially like with lettering, like you'll see like a giant bubble and the text is like in the middle of the bubble and there's like half an inch of space around the text. And like I see that and my eye twitches. Like it's like, no.
Well, that's the thing. It's like when I started podcasting, it's like you teach yourself how to do all these different parts of the process. And so you teach yourself all these different parts of the process. And so when you're listening to other podcasts, you're starting to critique it to yourself based on what you're hearing. And you're like, no, don't do that with the audio. No, don't do that with the opening credits. And so, like, I feel like the same thing can be applied for working on comics anyway.
Right. Yeah, no, it's exactly the same thing. And I'm sure like I can see you like listening to a podcast and like it sounds like crap and you're so frustrated or they're just, rambling for way too long and there's no direction to topics. Like that really frustrates me, like that kind of thing.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's why I appreciate the comic publishers and the writers for what they do. And so I've always wondered if a person wants to get into making a comic or design or, creating their own character and making stories off of it, what do you think you would advise someone that wants to get into this kind of field that you're in?
Oh, well, like I said, do a lot of research and look at other people's books and also like if you know people who are in the industry, like give your stuff to them and be okay with being critiqued. I think that's really important. Again, as an editor, like I've had people come to me and I'll edit their script and then they'll ignore most of the edits.
Ooh.
Because there's just, and I don't know if this is in every field, but I've noticed in the comic field, like there's a lot of ego. Like I designed this character. This is my character. It is the best character. I am the best writer, even though I've never written anything professionally. I am the best. And then they refuse to listen to other people and get input. And like, I think it's really important to, to not do that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, and I can totally see where you're coming from with that already. So let's go ahead and get you into the plugging here. Plug what is currently going on. Tell us about where we can find the Kickstarter, where we can find your Facebook. Give the details.
Sure, yeah. Like we talked about, we're currently running a Kickstarter for The Surgeon issue 3. You can get issues 1 and 2 on the Kickstarter if you need to catch up. It's just uhstudios.com/Kickstarter. So it should be pretty easy to find. And like I said, we're just short of the goal right now, and we'd love to hit stretch goals and like give every stretch goal we hit, we give away more cool shit to everyone who backs. So
there we go.
Come on over and back it. In terms of social media, we're just Unlikely Heroes Studios on Facebook, at Studios on Twitter, at Studios Official on Instagram. I think that's it.
All right. Well, thank you for that. Now, and let's go ahead and open up to some Q&A. So we've got a good handful of people here in the Discord, not the Arrogant Media Discord, but it's in the Unlikely Hero Studio Discord. And the old man, your turn.
The old man. I don't have any real questions. I've been following UHS 4 years now. Significant occurrence in my life brought us together, and they've been a great family to me, and I thank them for that. They're all great people, wonderful professionals, so I don't have any questions for her.
How did you find them?
A friend in England, from Kentucky. Laurie, you know Adam.
Of course, yeah.
Adam turned me on to UHS Studios. I really am an old man, by the way. And I just started getting into this kind of comic, the indie comics, for the last 4 years.
Good. What do you like about indie comics?
The diversity, the just sometimes off the wall fun.
Yeah, and it gives you the freedom to have that off-the-wall fun, too.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they're well done, and some of them do have messages, but a lot of them are done specifically for entertainment value, for fun, for those who enjoy reading comics.
Oh yeah.
And Weirdo, if you want to unmute yourself and go and ask any questions you have.
What's the one thing that you've seen that made you go, what the heck are they doing there?
Oh, wow. I don't know if I should talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. Fuck it. For our anthology last year, we got a submission. I'm not going to say from who, but it was a Scooby-Doo porn parody.
Excuse me.
And I I was very professional and we declined the submission, but I had to show it to some of the other UHS team members, and we just absolutely could not believe that it was a thing. And it wasn't like it was just some guy who was like, I'm going to do, and he did the entry for the anthology. It wasn't a thing that he had already done that he submitted. He was like, I know what I'm going to make for you guys. And he sent it to us. And I just I didn't know how to react. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, aside from the fact that I don't think we can publish a Scooby-Doo porn parody in a book legally.
That'd be kind of hard. Yeah. I mean, no pun intended. All right, hang on.
Well,
oh my God.
Look, I mean, there's porn parodies everywhere. I can walk into my local adult store and I can pick up my own copy of This Is Not the Cosbys. This is a porn parody.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, it blew my mind that not only that did someone make that, but they made it for our anthology. And there was not. Anyway, we don't need to go into detail about it. I'm gonna stop now.
Yeah, if you want to stop, yeah. Oh, jeez.
Now we've got one more person to have say hi here. Sarah, do you want to come say hi real quick?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I literally just plugged in my mic, so I wasn't even sure that it was set up right. I remember the Scooby-Doo one, and that was really special. It was special. Something else.
Sarah is a close friend of mine, and she works with us as a graphic designer and marketing person. And yeah, she was one of the first people I sent that to, so she got to see it.
Well, Sarah, do you want to talk a little bit about being a graphic designer and working with marketing, and just share your experience?
I feel like Laurie oversells what I do, because mostly I just bitch at her about crap that's happening in my life.
Look, I oversell what I do when all I do is just yell into a microphone.
I also, I mean, I run I guess I don't run the Instagram, but I kind of manage it to an extent. So most of the stuff that goes on there, unless it's a promoted post, is me taking what Laurie posted on Facebook, and sticking it on Instagram. And sometimes I remix what we already have to put up something new. And as far as marketing stuff, we don't really have a process, do we? We just kind of Laurie will come at me with we have this problem. Do you know what we can do about it? And I'd be like, sure, and make it happen. There's no process.
Okay. All right. Well, that's going to wrap up the episode then. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Laurie, thank you so much for taking the time to be able to do this with us. We had a great time with you, and we're definitely excited to see what you're going to be doing in the future here and seeing the success of your Kickstarter campaign.
Oh, thank you guys. It was a lot of fun. If you ever want to have me on again to bitch about games or talk about comics, I'm happy to.
We would like that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, thank you again for listening. If you want to support us, we have a couple ways. You can go to facebook.com/arrogantmedia. Give us a follow there. And if you want to financially help us out as well, we have patreon.com/arrogantmedia for $5 per month to get access into the Discord server. Come chat with us and even hang out while we record our episodes. And until next time, fall damage.
Okay.
Hey there. Don't forget to subscribe to Madcast shows on iTunes, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app. Okay, bye. Madcast Media Network.